In January 2024, Perplexity AI was worth roughly $500 million. By September 2025, that number had climbed to $20 billion. No advertising budget, no celebrity spokesperson, no viral moment anyone can point to and say, that's where it happened. Just a small team, a sharp idea, and a product that made millions of people wonder why they had ever typed a search query the old way. This is the story of how 4 researchers turned a simple frustration into one of the most valuable AI companies on the planet. From research labs to a radical idea, Perplexity AI was founded in 2022 by 4 people who had spent their careers deep inside the world's most advanced AI labs. Sirav and Srinivas had held research positions at OpenAI, Google Brain, and DeepMind. Co-founder Dinesh Yarats came from Meta AI. These were not outsiders dreaming about disrupting technology. These were insiders who knew exactly how it worked and exactly where it was failing. Their frustration was not abstract. It was the same frustration that millions of people experience every single day. A person types something into Google, they get 10 blue links. They click the first one. It does not answer the question. They click the second one. That one is behind a paywall. By the 4th click, they have lost 3 minutes and still do not have a direct answer. The web had become a maze, and search engines had become tour guides who only hand out maps. Srinivas and his co-founders believed there was a better way. Instead of sending users toward a list of links, Perplexity would read those sources in real time and synthesize a single, clean, cited answer. The user asks a question, the product answers it directly, with sources visible so the user can verify the information themselves. It sounds simple. But in 2022, no one had done it properly at scale. ChatGPT had just launched with tremendous excitement, but its knowledge was frozen in time. Free users were still working with training data from early 2022. It could not tell someone what happened last week, last month, or even last year. Google, meanwhile, had all the real-time data in the world, but was structurally built around advertising, which meant its incentive was to keep users clicking, not to give them answers and send them on their way. Perplexity saw the gap between those 2 giants and decided to build a bridge across it. Early traction validated the instinct. By February 2023, the platform was already reporting 2 million unique monthly visitors. That is not a small number for a startup that was barely a year old and had spent nothing on traditional marketing. The product was the marketing. Users were finding it, using it, and telling other people about it, the cleanest growth signal any early-stage company can hope to see. The funding explosion and the names behind it, the investor community noticed, and what followed over the next 2 years was a funding trajectory that reads less like a standard startup story and more like a time lapse of a skyscraper going up. In April 2024, Perplexity crossed the $1 billion valuation threshold after raising $165 million. 2 months later, SoftBank's Vision Fund 2 led a round that pushed the valuation to $3 billion. By December 2024, a $500 million round led by institutional venture partners pushed it to $9 billion. In June 2025, Axile led another $500 million investment at a $14 billion valuation, then a $100 million extension in July, then $200 million more in September 2025, landing the company at a $20 billion valuation with over $1.5 billion in total funding raised. The names on the cap table read like a who's who of the technology world. Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, invested. NVIDIA, the company that makes the chips powering most of the AI revolution, invested. SoftBank's Vision Fund, the enormous Japanese investment vehicle known for making massive bets on transformative technology, invested. Shopify's CEO Tobias Lut, Figma CEO Dylan Field, and former YouTube CEO Susan Wojcicki all placed personal bets on the company. When a group that diverse and that experienced decides to back the same startup, it signals something more than financial optimism. It signals genuine belief in the product's staying power. The user numbers confirm that belief. In May 2025, Perplexity processed 780 million queries in a single month, more than triple the total number of queries the platform had processed across all of 2023. Monthly active users sat at roughly 45 million by mid-2025, up from 22 million at the start of that same year. Daily visitors averaged around 5.6 million. In India alone, after telecom giant Airtel bundled a free Perplexity Pro subscription into its plans, the platform saw a 600% increase in app downloads in a single quarter. These are not soft metrics. These are the kinds of numbers that force serious investors and serious competitors to sit up and reconsider their assumptions. The boldness of the company's ambitions also grew alongside its valuation. In August 2024, Perplexity made a $34.5 billion offer to acquire Google's Chrome browser, a move timed to a Justice Department lawsuit arguing that Google had been acting anti-competitively in the search market. The bid was audacious. Industry analysts viewed it as more strategic signal than firm transaction, a way of positioning Perplexity directly in the narrative of what comes after Google's era of dominance. The federal court ultimately ruled in Google's favor, keeping Chrome intact, but the offer had already made its point. The business model built to last. The story of Perplexity is not just about growth. It is about what kind of growth, and that distinction matters enormously for understanding why investors have been willing to write checks at valuations that many observers find startling. The company operates on a freemium model. The free tier gives users access to core search functionality with a limited number of queries per month. The Pro subscription, priced at $20 a month, unlocks unlimited queries, access to multiple advanced AI models, including those from OpenAI and Anthropic, and premium features. A higher tier called Perplexity Max, launched in July 2025 at $200 per month, adds early access to products like the company's AI-powered email assistant and its Comet browser. Annual recurring revenue approached $200 million by September 2025, up from just $35 million in mid-2024. That revenue growth rate, roughly 400 to 500% year-over-year, is what justifies the valuation conversations, even at a multiple that makes traditional analysts uncomfortable. The product portfolio has also expanded significantly beyond the core search engine. Comet, an AI-powered browser built on the Chromium platform, launched for paying subscribers in July 2025 and was made available as a free download in October 2025. Samsung integrated Perplexity into all of its 2025 television models and rolled the feature back to 2023 and 2024 devices via software update, meaning that every new Samsung TV owner now receives a free 12-month Pro subscription simply by setting up their device. Perplexity also launched a shopping hub in partnership with Amazon and NVIDIA, enabling AI-generated product recommendations and direct purchases inside the platform. Finance tools with real-time stock data followed. A developer-facing search API opened up the platform's web index to third-party builders. Each product moves the company further away from being a single search tool and closer to being an embedded layer of how people interact with information at home, at work, on their phones, on their televisions, and inside their browsers. It is an ambitious expansion, and it is not without risk. Legal battles with major publishers including the New York Times, Dow Jones, and Reddit have raised serious questions about how Perplexity sources its data. A cease and desist from the BBC and a copyright lawsuit from Forbes created real turbulence that the company has had to navigate carefully. These are not minor disputes. They touch the core of what makes the product work. But what Perplexity has demonstrated, above everything else, is the ability to keep building through the turbulence. The team of roughly 250 employees has accomplished what most well-funded startups with 10 times the headcount failed to do. They built something people cannot stop using. In a landscape full of AI companies making enormous promises, Perplexity built one small, sharp promise: ask a question, get an answer, move on with your day, and then delivered on it, again and again, fast enough that the rest of the world is still catching up. That is the real story behind the valuation, the investors, and the growth numbers. Not a trick, not a shortcut, just a team that understood what was broken and refused to stop until they had fixed it.